Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at basically how you can grab yourself stones as quickly as possible for the worldwide celebration. Now obviously the worldwide celebration will bring with it a ton of stones, but we have run a little bit dry I think on global with all the back-to-back big summons that we have had. So this is kind of like a cover-up on just a reminder on how to get a couple dragon stones before and during the worldwide celebration. So obviously the big one is the virtual Dokkan Ultimate Clash. You get 30 stones for this, but it does expire. This one especially is quite easy actually, so I highly suggest you look into potentially like completing this one as quickly as possible. Remember, the sooner you complete it, the more it's out the way, because there will be a part 2 during the worldwide celebration. Then story mode, we've had a whole bunch of story added in, area 35 to be precise, and there's 8 stages here, each with 3 stones of difficulty, which gives you a total of 24 stones, not including the missions. And speaking of missions, we need to talk about campaign missions, because there is actually a huge benefit right now. There are a ton of missions that are up, not only for story, but just in general for a lot of content. So grab as many stones as possible for all the various campaigns that are currently going on, as you will net yourself a lot of really good value out of those. Then of course, we got to talk a little bit about the DB story events. So of course DB story events are permanent, but we have had quite a few additions recently, especially under the DB saga section, and we just had our most recent for the Devilman unit. So we just had a very nice pickup for the Devilman unit, so I highly suggest to players to please obviously go and partake in that as much as you can. You will net yourself some really good stones. Obviously it doesn't go anywhere, but if you're a new player, there's tons of these, so I highly suggest that you look into it. Next, obviously from there we need to talk about challenge and extreme battles. Now guys, story events are up, they're up temporarily, but there will be more that are brought with the worldwide celebration, and these will go away. And right now there's a lot of Universe 11 ones up, so grab those while you can. Extreme Z battles, guys, do all of them as far as you can. Even as a new player, I hear a lot of new players say, well, I can't do them. That's okay. Even if you just do each one, like there are so many Extreme Z battles, especially with all of them up right now for the worldwide celebration. There are so many Extreme Z battles that are just up that players, naturally speaking, will just sort of gravitate towards and be able to clear stages. And 3 stages here, 4 stages here, 5 stages here. Even if you're just doing one, it counts, and you know what, you walk out with more dragon stones than you came in with. Speaking of challenges, obviously there's a whole bunch of new challenge events that have come out, and challenge events aren't the best way to get dragon stones, but there are a couple that are pretty nice. Firstly, breaking the siege is a very, very good one, as right now it's fairly accessible. I mean, you can grab dragon stones from it fairly easily. On top of that as well, there's also, of course, as always, the punching bag events. I think that a lot of players will be interested in. I've got tons of guides on how to do the punching bag events, and really there's a lot of incentive to doing the punching bag events, so you should be doing them as well. IDBH, Dokkan Boss Rush, SBR, ESBR, all of these things are great sources of stones, and players all across the board should be grabbing them. So there's tons of stones here. Look, if you need more guidance for things like punching bag events and stuff like that, you can always watch the videos on my channel. I have guides to pretty much all of it, making it a lot more accessible. Now of course, you can't really talk about challenge without talking about things like red zone, and talking about of course, like Cell Max events, the Spectacular Magnificent events. Of course, these are challenging, and they're not going to be sources of stones that are easily accessible to every single player. But what I can suggest to players, of course, is to potentially look into, grabbing like what stones they can here. Maybe you can't, complete everything, but you'll be able to complete some of it and have a pretty good time and get some stones. And that's all that really matters. It's the little bits of stones here or there that'll add up for you, more so than just trying to grab everything at once all the time. So yeah, of course, please remember that there will be some new Fighting Legend Frieza missions. that will be added in before the worldwide celebration. And please remember as well that there are going to be more missions added into some of this content during the worldwide celebration. I also have a hunch that we'll be getting a couple of new blue zones, red zones, etc. So probably a new red zone, I have a feeling. So we'll have to take a look at that. But yeah, then of course there's the Portal of Memories. For players who don't know, Portal of Memories is obviously a great source of stones, especially if you're a new player. You wouldn't have done a lot of these events, and a lot of them are off rotation. Particularly focus on like the hero stuff, as that will only come out in November. And you can also focus in on the hero stuff. You can also focus in on obviously things like Goku and Arale, etc. One special mention to obviously the Dokkan All-Stars, which no one really likes doing, but is obviously a amazing source of stones. So Dokkan All-Stars is obviously a huge grind, but it is something well worth it. If you are really panicking for stones, there's like 270 here, so yeah, go for it. Really, really go for it. You'll probably net out some really good value. So yeah, that kind of surmises like the majority of the ways that you're going to be able to get stones. There isn't really like super secret mechanisms, like, you know, people post videos like infinite dragon stones, infinite this. It's just not the case, unfortunately. The only real infinite way to make dragon stones is by purchasing stones. Now I don't purchase stones, but what I can say is there will be great discounts around the WWC, but there are currently great discounts now, and they will refresh at the time of the WWC. So if you want to grab now, go for it. That's it. Bye.